first committees.
Yes, sir.
It's
Some of your
very
representatives won't even push them forward if you don't
They
have a
won't.
match. They're really particular about
Some
that.
of them will, but most
Yeah.
of them, they
Yeah.
require some documentation.
So the rest of this is just documentation and narratives, really. That it's a lot of it's standard language. I'll say that we submit every year. We did have a preliminary plan from Troy Tarbox and working with the COA and a local contractor also. So that plan has been included that will show you all what the parking lot looks like. I will tell you. It is very little turns in and out, very little curbs, very little medians, because it is an aging population that will be parking in this facility. So this is not an elaborately designed parking lot, and for good reason. It is. We want as with ease of flow in and out of that facility as possible. So that's our first one. If there's any questions, like I said, that's basically the gist of what we're asking for this item.
Yeah, I have a quick question. On the previous award that we just went through for doing the pipe, the proposals, they had two different proposals in for options in those. One included paving, one was for additional pipe. And those costs was $350,000+ each.
Yes,
So
sir.
it don't matter which option, they were both $350,000+.
Yes, sir.
And if that's the case, we're gonna come in and grade and do some lime rock. But even if we put it in half, right? You're still talking about $175,000 probably for paving.
When Mr. Lee did some cost estimates on that, we budgeted $100,000 in this request for the asphalt itself, because the rest of the work would be done.
I can tell you now, I'm gonna wanna see the breakout when it's advertised and bid, what the cost of paving that road is separate from the cost of that. Whenever you create the bid forms, if we get the funding, I'm gonna wanna see that separate, because I'm telling you from the onset, I do not think that is gonna be sufficient to cover that.
From the
And-
other items in this agenda, I'm sorry, that's what I'm asking, for the other items
Yes,
we're requesting?
You're gonna have
Yes, sir.
one for walkway, one for parking lot, one for lighting, but there's this roadway pavement.
Yes, sir.
Because I think we're grossly underestimating that. And the very first thing that's gonna happen is, well, we gotta have more money. And so we're gonna have to break it out to know where the funding's come from, because I'm just telling you, I think to put in a parking lot with lighting and a covered walkway and pave the road, I don't think $500,000 is gonna touch it.
Yes, sir.
I think we're gonna end up with something that's probably twice that much at the end of the day.
Yes, sir. Our estimates from Mr. Tarbox were about $300,000. The lighting, the walkway system was at $50,000, and that is with some increases due to costs being slightly higher. And
300 just for the parking lot?
Yes, sir.
I'm
Is
just
that- is
telling
that
you, I
curved all the way around?
I can send
build
you
a
what
canopy,
Troy's. I
just
honestly
build.
don't recall off the top of my head. But yes, sir. I certainly understand,
I'm
and
just-
that portion would be bid
And
separately.
it needs to
from
be
the others.
prioritized as to what is important. When it comes in, what is going to, if we get $500,000, and all we get is $500,000 and the bids come in, they need to be ranked in order of what's important, because something I'm afraid is going to have to give for this amount.
Yes, sir.
Because I'm just telling you, building a canopy, paving the parking lot, and
Yes, sir.
I
Well,
think-
we
I
certainly
hope I'm
haven't-
wrong. I hope I'm
Yeah.
wrong.
Well, we
I
haven't
think by the
submitted it.
time you get your funding,
Yeah,
that road's already gonna be paved.
we may not be looking at it from
I
that
think you're gonna be
perspective.
looking at your parking lot and your awning.
Yes, sir.
Because we're not gonna be able to wait 2 years, which is what time you're gonna really get funding in your hand to pave that road out there.
Yes,
So I
sir.
think that road's gonna have to be paved way before we ever get the funding. But I agree with Commissioner Bennett, maybe $500,000. If you was gonna do the total project, I would say 500 ain't gonna cut it. But if we pave the road, it would be closer. But I'm still not sure it's gonna.
Yes, sir. Now, we haven't submitted anything. If you feel these numbers are
I
inadequate,
think
we can
Mr.
always.
Bennett, that's his specialty and right in his wheelhouse. I feel comfortable with his suggestion on what the bid should be. So if you'll get him, this is me talking, the rest of y'all
I
can weigh
agree.
in. Get him all the information on what has been submitted or what bids are, and let him look at that and then come up with some type of a number he feels comfortable with. I think I would feel, I trust his expertise
I'm just,
with a number.
I'm just saying, we're paving right now with some projects. We just built a covered walkway canopy.
Talking too much.
And I know what it's costing us to do that. We're building one at the front of our building, which is different, but I just built one over sidewalk.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mhm.
I know what the cost was, and this is $500,000 is going to go really fast when you start talking about asphalt, really fast.
Yes, sir.
I'd like to look at that too.
Yeah, absolutely.
On the asphalt part.
Yes, sir.
I mean, that'd be fine.
Certainly, if we need to make adjustments to it, we can. Like I said, those were based on estimates from
When do we
people
have
that-
to have this in, sir?
I have to have it submitted to the state no later than the 12th. So we've got a few days to make some
Of this
adjustments.
month?
Yes, sir. Of
Let these two
February.
work with you on that and come up with a number.
Mhm.
And then whatever they're comfortable with,
Mhm.
I would be comfortable with.
Yes, sir. And you all
That's
are
okay.
comfortable with the $50,000 match?
Good for me. Is that all right,
I'm
Mr.
fine with
Attorney? If we-
50,000.
Yes, sir. Okay, certainly. All right, we're moving on to the next
Don't
one.
email me. Send it
No,
to
sir,
Sarah. I'm
definitely.
gonna send mine to Sarah.
Yeah, I'll send you guys out the, I'll send you out the estimates.
No,
yeah.
no, just be clear. I don't want you to think that we're working together. No, we will provide information
Well, you
to
know what
Sarah.
I meant.
Right,
Yes,
I know, but the public, I just want to make sure they know.
Yes, sir. I'll send you guys out the estimates that we received on this
I don't need to
information.
be
We'll go
getting-
from there.
I
All right,
know.
the second item for consideration is the Baker County Public Works Operations Center and Disaster Staging is what we're going to be asking for. So the county currently owns 20 acres in between Glenn and Sanderson. We do have $100,000 in our budget this year to do some work on that property. So I have listed that as a local match. That's the reason why you see that so high. We have set aside that money to do some type of engineering plans this year. So should the county not receive this appropriation money, we would like to move forward with our own local money that we funded to go ahead and start working on the plans for that. So you'll see that's the reason why that we've listed this so high. So for this is actually just in preparation for construction. This doesn't include any actual work on the property in that manner. This is for the engineering, permitting. I'll tell you, wetlands delineation is one of those that we don't know because we don't know, right? So I will tell you that's the best guess estimate on that. We do know that there are wetlands on the property, but our engineer that has looked at it believes that there's a way to design that the wetlands are not impacted, and obviously that's our goal. And then obviously access improvements and fencing of a currently owned 20-acre parcel. So this project from the state, we're asking for $350,000 with a local match of $100,000. Again, that is currently in your budget for a total project cost of $450,000.
Can we do 400 requests with a $500,000 ask? Because I'm not sure that that's going to be enough money.
To increase it, what? I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
Your $350,000 request, is that set in stone, or can we do a $400,000? Because your numbers look good with $100,000.
Yes, sir. They can be adjusted tonight
I
if
would
you
move
wanted
them
to.
up to 400.
So it's got an 80-20 match.
Right.
So a $500,000 total project.
Yeah. Because
400
I think
from
what
the
you're gonna
state,
run
100.
into some mitigation on those wetlands.
Yes, sir.
That's
Certainly.
that's a wet area over there.
Yes, sir. If that's okay with the rest of you all, I can certainly do so.
Is the board okay with that?
Yeah, that's good.
Okay. Any other questions on this one in particular? All right.
Good
Moving
thing it's
on.
fresh water, not salt.
Moving on to
That's
item
what you
number
gotta deal with.
3. So this one is our third project. I'll tell you, we've been successful at these in the past, and because of the time frame in which we know that it's going to take to build this truck, like I said, we don't necessarily need it right now today, but by the time this goes through an appropriation request, if we are awarded and then we go through a build of potentially a 2-year process to build this piece of equipment, we most certainly will be at that time frame where we need it then. So that's what we're asking for. This is for the Baker County Pumper Taker Fire Apparatus. This would be for the Sanderson Fire Station. We are asking for $900,000 from the state with a $50,000 match for a total of $950,000. And it's sad to say, but that is the going rate for this piece of equipment that we're talking about now. Trevor, the last one we ordered was how much money?
$750.
Yeah. Due to the changes in the engine requirements that we've been talking about for the last few years, this is now the cost of, we've bought this vehicle.
We've already priced this out, Chief.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
We got quotes from the vendor
Mhm.
that's building, and it would be exactly as the same as the
Same.
one we're building now.
Mm-hmm.
And he said because of EPA regulations,
Yeah.
they're looking at $150,000 to $200,000 more.
Okay.
Yes, sir. So at the time of ownership, this is the amount that the
So if we
manufacturer
was to
would
order,
do.
once we get the funding, the price is locked in. Even if it takes 2 years, we're gonna get it for the
Correct.
same price.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. That's correct. Yes, sir. So if there's not any questions on that one, again, it's sad that that same piece of equipment is increased that much. But I wanted to make sure I pointed that out to you all. Again, total project on that one's $950,000.
The $50,000 match, was that in the budget or not?
It is not. That would have to come back to you all for consideration if the appropriation is funded. And of course, like I said, we've got ample opportunity to make sure that that happens in a future budget cycle. Because you wouldn't need it until the time you order the vehicle. Yeah. Yeah. Any questions on that one at all?
Any other questions on the appropriation?
All right.
If not,
Thank you.
I'll entertain a motion with make sure in the motion that we put the two commissioners are going to be working with Sarah on the amount for the project on the COA Center.
Yes, sir. And I'll get out that supporting documentation to you all, and we'll go from there.
And when you got a good number, if you could get that information to all the commissioners, I
Certainly.
appreciate that.
Yes, sir. Certainly.
So I would entertain a motion for that.
So moved.
Second. Have a motion and a second. All those in favor say,
What about the
he's so moved.
the change that you had from what 350 to 400, right?
Yeah.
Make sure that's in there too.
Yes, sir. I got it.
Yep.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, you didn't. I'm trying to get where I can talk
There we
without
go.
coughing, but clearing it up. Commissioner, would you go ahead and make an amendment to your motion on that to add the 50 on the 450?
I agree. I'm in to include the additional 50.
Because I didn't say anything about that.
I agree to amend.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
The seconder
You
agree?
second, okay. Second.
All right.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. The motion carries. All right, we're moving to our prior business report. Pending business.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I need to warm my hands up down here. You guys
Warm
are
'em, yo. I'm about
freezing
to
me to
heat to death
death in
over
here.
here.
I'm gonna have hypothermia when I leave out here tonight.
Trying to take Derek with a barrel in and bumping that thermostat.
It's
get a-
hot in here.
To get a heater underneath
You
this
got a
desk.
fever
Yeah.
or something?
You do.
You're just heated.
Oh, goodness. All right, we'll run through this list. I know you guys are probably ready to go home, but we have some really great news this week.
You've got you on.
Two of our projects on this list have received COs since the last time we've met.
Jesus.
So the first one, I'm sorry, this was an older one that didn't include it, but Sanderson Fire Station was added to our pending business report, and that received its CO on Friday. It took about 5 minutes for staff to pack their bags and to move across US 90. They were in there really, really quickly, which we're thankful for that. Thankful for that process. I know it was long and drawn out, but thank you all for your patience in working through that with us as well. But they are there. They are officially there, and we're excited about that. We're going to start working through the process on closing out the old fire station. Just to remind you all, there is a reverter clause that facility was donated to the county from a family. And it does have some language in there that talks about should it no longer serve as a fire station, it would go back to them. So we'll start having some conversations with that family. They see it, they may not want it back, but we will start that process and give you guys some updates on how that goes. But for now, they are, like I said, they are in the new station. Starting back at the top of the list, our COA bus wash. Unfortunately, we were really, really close to getting our CO on this last week. The only thing that was really holding up the process was termite inspection, or termite treatment, excuse me. But unfortunately, on some of the flow tests, we were not putting out the amount of water out of the facility that we were supposed to. And so they started the process this week about trying to investigate where that is. Is it a leaking valve? Is there something going on with one of the pipes? So I talked to Keith yesterday. We talked to the city of McClenny as well. And they want to confirm that the amount of flow is coming out from the main line onto the property. There's a line there. And so we want to confirm that that's not our issue. Is that, do we think X number of gallons per minute is coming out, and it's not. So that's our next step, is doing a flow test on that line. And once we have the information from that, I'll report that back to you all. We have been, I said, right here at the tail end. So the termite treatment, that will be done one day this week. And then once we figure out the solution to whatever issue is going on with the water flow there, that's the last thing needed for our CO there.
Questions before you move on.
Yes, sir, certainly.
On the sewer,
Yes,
But
sir.
that thing's supposed to drain and clean the sewer.
That may be
out
part
there.
of the problem. Yes, sir. I talked at length about that this week.
Okay. I
Yes,
just
sir.
want to make sure we're staying on top of
Yes,
that,
sir.
because I know
Yeah.
they're still having trouble out there.
Yes, sir. Yes,
And I
sir.
know that we haven't used the bus wash yet, so you don't know if it's working or not.
Right, right.
Or is it connected into the same line, or do you know?
That I'm not sure of. I'd hate to misspeak on that one. I have to verify
Well,
that
that's
with
the
Keith or
information
Lance.
we need to know. 'Cause
Yes, sir.
That was the whole design of the building, was that the water from the bus wash would
Right.
flush out the main line, which I think is a stupid design, whoever come up with that, but that's beside the point.
Right.
No different than the fact that they drained the entire Winn-Dixie building through
Into
our
it.
retention pond, which is, just doesn't make, anyway.
We could go on, I could go on a long way on
Yes,
it,
sir.
but anyway.
We're aware of it. Yes, sir. We are
Just, I
working with
wanna-
it.
If you would keep me in the loop on that, I would like to.
Yes,
know.
sir. I certainly will.
Well, this one, once again, I'm very much concerned about how we got through an entire design process, an entire building, all the way to the very end and find, well, we don't have the water flow. I'm curious as to how we continued it. I mean, we got the entire design, a building constructed, and didn't have the correct power. Now we've got another situation here where we've got an entire facility built, planned for a long time, it's built, and now we don't even have adequate utilities serving it. I am anxious to see what we find is the problem.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I agree. Moving on down into the Senior Life Enrichment Center, we did get a CO issued on that building this week. So, last week. So that is exciting. We will work with the COA to do a grand opening. I don't know what date they had in mind, but there are still like touch-up paint and things like that need to be done. But otherwise, it is complete, and we are going to target a date to have some type of ceremony
We
over
need
there.
to make sure we're in contact with the senator and
Of course.
representative.
Yes, sir. Of course.
When they decide. And it wouldn't hurt to even invite the governor.
Yes, sir. Certainly. We can do that. All right. Moving on down the list into the NAB Sports Complex. That project is still full steam ahead. Every day there is a tremendous amount of projects that are going on over there. Any given day you can ride by and there's 20 or so people working on that property. So we're really excited about that. We this week had some conversations with Little League about what their schedules look like, and started working through our calendars for that. So we're really close. Like I said, obviously the goal is to have all of the field work done. There's still some more construction. Obviously, it's not complete until Little League season is done. But again, that project looks really well. We do have Little League opening day. That'll be coming up in March. I know they were still working on a date, so as soon as I have that from Little League, I will let you guys know. But that's one that they also, Little League is wanting to incorporate some recognition into Representative Brandon and Senator Bradley as well, to make sure that they can come if they have the opportunity to be there. Again, this is a big project. We wouldn't have been able to do that without them. So certainly I know that they would appreciate you guys being present as well, because there's a lot of local money and staff time and all that went into that as well. So as soon as I have that date, I will let you know. Like I said, we were happy with that one as well. The courthouse generator appropriation project, those bids were due on the 30th of January. They are currently under review. I will tell you that we got one that looks really great. It is just a little over budget. When I say a little, I mean I think it was less than $8,000 over our budget. So we're not ready to award yet. Again, we've got a person who's volunteered his services as an electrical engineer to review that to make sure that I as staff, it looks good on paper, but I need someone with some expertise that can say, yes, this will do what you guys are asking it to. So we are currently reviewing those proposals now. I hope to have that back to you, but again, that's really at his discretion. We have asked him to, to try to review that quickly for us. I'd like to have that back for you in 2 weeks, but I'm not sure that that's realistic given the amount of information that he has to review, and then the fact that he's volunteering his services. But of course, this is one that continues to be a priority for us to get that wrapped up. And I said we're really excited about the information that has been submitted, though, and being able to see that through. And then the last thing I want to point out is the Sanderson Center. Unfortunately, we are still waiting on a third quote for the well installer to come out. That's really been the holdup on that project, and really moving forward with anything else. Just want to see what those numbers look like. They're coming in pretty high. And then just to remind you all that we did have some local people who were interested in helping with that, and they have been in and out of the building with some of their contractors, and a structural engineer and someone that specializes in ADA compliance. So in fact, I just gave Mr. Doug Moore a key to the building and said, listen, if you've got someone who is willing to look at it for us, I want you to be able to go in it without delay and what works with his schedule. So we gave him a key and just told him, just kind of let us know, just to make sure people know that you're supposed to be in there or whatever. But anyway, so we are working through that as well and hope to get some good information back from those community resources to do some of this work and get that building up to par where it needs to be. And that is all, unless there's questions.
How many bids do you have on the well already?
2. We're waiting on a 3rd. We've been told that we should be expecting it any day now.
Well, we need to get water out there.
Yes,
so
sir.
if
Certainly.
it don't come in by the next board meeting, we need the 2 bids.
Certainly, we can do that.
And if you want, I'm not having a problem if the other commissioners are okay with that. We need to move forward and not be waiting.
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir. Certainly, we
If
can
they're
do
not
so.
interested in giving a bid and time that we're looking at, then they're not interested in the job.
Yes, sir. Certainly. Okay. Any other questions? Thank you all so much.
Our next item is expense reports over $5,000. Anybody have any questions for Ms. Sarah on that? If not, we'll move to the next item on the agenda, which is the American Rescue Plan 1 and 2. Any updates?
No, sir. There's been no charges to this account. We're kind of in a holding pattern on some of these projects. Most of the money has been spent, though. You can see from the green there. But there's nothing new to report on this one.
Okay, we're moving to our next item on the agenda, which is County Manager.
The only thing that I have for you all is the Regional Council does have their legislative priorities. I just want to make sure that you all get a copy of that before you leave. And that is really it for me.
Thank you. All right. Mr. Commando, you have anything today?
No, Mr. Chair, nothing tonight, thank you.
Commissioner comments, Commissioner Hartley.
The only thing I have is the Olustee Battlefield will be coming up the 14th, 15th, and 16th.
February?
People to come, yes.
Okay.
Yes. And that's all. Valentine's Day? Yep, Valentine's Day.
Get shot on Valentine's Day.
You'll hear them from my house.
Will you? That's right. Yeah, you're right. Yeah. Mr. Mann, you have anything?
I don't have anything.
Commissioner Bennett?
We have a workshop next commission meeting to follow up on the transportation gas tanks. Information was requested, some follow-up from our last meeting.
Yes, sir.
I'd like to have that to us by next Wednesday at the absolute latest
Okay.
on those, so we have a chance to review it and digest it before we walk into the meeting. So we should have plenty of time to have worked through any items on that to make sure that we have everything to go through it. Because my question is, if we're just going to go through over every single thing that we've already done,
Yes, sir.
do we need 2 hours to do it? That's really what I'm trying to figure out. I absolutely want the workshop, but if there's nothing new to what we're doing, if there's nothing new to present, there's nothing new, or do we need 2 hours to do it, or we need to move it to 4? I don't know, because I don't know what all we're going to see.
There'll be nothing new to present, just some more details and breakdown on some of the information that we've already talked about. So I leave that at y'all's discretion. I think
Okay.
I would hate to get in the middle of the conversation and then it'd be cut short, obviously, at the 1 hour, but I certainly understand.
Let's leave it where it's at, but I'm just,
Yeah.
again, I'd like to make sure we have that information to us by Wednesday, so if we have any individual has any questions or concerns or comments or follow-up on it, we have a chance to send that back to you, to have that, so it can be prepared for the meeting as well, okay?
Yes, sir. We can do that.
And I will, just on the record, the second meeting in March is the week of spring break here. So the third Tuesday, which is the second meeting, I will be out of town.
Okay.
So that is spring break week as well. So you may want to just kind of focus on the agenda, and if there's not a lot going on, that's a meeting that
That's the meeting we
Yes.
volunteer you for all sorts of things.
You can volunteer all you want, but you can volunteer but not volunteer. You're not going to get voluntold, okay? I can always say no.
Conflict on that day too.
And I bring that up because it may be a couple may have
Yes, sir.
conflicts
If
that
you-
week, so to be thinking about keeping an
March.
agenda very light if we need
We'll
it.
send out our advertisements, and that would be first hearing for,
Yeah.
we have either 4 applications, I think, already
Okay.
that are pretty big applications.
Okay. You guys
we
could-
haven't sent the advertisements
No,
out
we haven't yet. Yeah,
Right.
We
but
could
we
always
send
move
it-
them to another meeting.
Yeah. If anyone else has any scheduling conflicts or travel plans, let us know. We want to make sure we have a quorum for that meeting.
Well, if that's-
I'm good.
Okay.
I'd be here.
Okay.
Mr.
You know,
Man,
is
I
Laney
should-
making you go somewhere fun?
I think we're good. I don't think
Okay.
the boys have spring break.
Yeah. They're too little for that just yet.
Yeah.
All right. So Commissioner Hartley, you may be out of town as well, but otherwise, I think we've got a quorum otherwise. Okay. Thank you. Appreciate that.
If any way possible though, if we can keep it light and
course.
anything is, if we don't need to talk, get in public hearing far as, but I don't want to hold anybody up neither. Because they'll get one part of the public hearing. If they might not get the beginning, but they'll get the end. So if we need to move forward with it, let's move forward with it. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
But if it's something that can hold back, that's fine too. Okay. Commissioner Marley.
Yes, I had a couple calls this week about the Boy Scout camp boat ramp.
Mm-hmm.
Could you give us an update on that? And I know we spoke about it,
Yes, sir.
and maybe I think right now, just give us the update on it right now.
Yeah, certainly. So, I mean, I think you guys heard pretty in-depth earlier today how lengthy this process is, right? So the last conversation that we had about the boat ramp, I believe, and we all believe actually, not just myself, that the boat ramp is in need of repair, no doubt, but there is some temporary work we can do to get it open for summer so that it's used. I think the road department could probably do that in an afternoon, really just with some dirt and some backfill and a few guys, they could probably get it back to where it's usable again. The issue with that is every time we hit a point where they say, okay, our site inspections are done, and they meaning someone from either state DEM or FEMA. So, okay, site inspections are done. We've seen all we need to see. You guys can do, some work on that. Then we get a phone call that says, oh no, such and such team needs to come out and look at it again. So that's my hesitancy on why we have not. I know from the public perspective, it probably looks like obviously it's just sitting there. There's not anything that's been done. And that's because they have to come out and see that damage for themselves.
Right.
And so I kind of jokingly said, well, a few more storms and some of that sand from the parking lot of the road is going to backfill that in itself. It's going to look really good by the time we do that. But so this week we're trying to nail down a firm, yes, you can go in there and do some temporary repair work. And then because obviously we want it back open for the summer, and it's a heavily used facility. It's the only public boat ramp in Baker County. We know that's a priority for the people that use it. Last summer it was under construction for part of the summer as well, and so that is a priority for us too. So I hope to have that nailed down this week. We have taken every picture from every angle. I mean, like I said, we've had numerous teams that have come out and looked at it. So I'm hopeful at this point that we can be given the go ahead that yes, you can go out and do that work and get it back
if
open
there was
again.
a way we could, open it up, but
Yes, sir.
I understand the people coming out, and we're trying to have FEMA help pay
Yes,
for
sir.
the rehab of it.
Right.
But
And there's
if there was a way we could open that up.
Yes, sir, certainly.
I'm
I think
trying to be
there's
in
some
favor of
temporary
trying to-
solutions that can get it back open for the
Trying to get
summer.
it
Yes, sir.
open.
Mhm.
for the rest
And
of it.
and to
I
not
would
not
ju-
be costly
I would
either.
just ask anything that you do, video it.
Oh, of course.
When you're repairing it,
Yeah.
video it.
Yes, sir.
Document
We've got
before,
documentation.
During and after.
We'll just set up a game
From what I hear
cam
from
or
these guys, they
webcam.
want
yeah.
videos, so.
Yes, sir. No, I agree. That's something that, like I said, we harped on earlier today is documentation.
Well, I mean,
Our guys know that
it's
for
warmed
sure.
up this past week, and
It is, and
everybody's
it's nice.
ready to itch and get outside again.
I agree.
So
Yes, sir.
that was one of the things I had a couple phone calls about this week, so I
Yes,
just wanted
sir.
to bring
Yeah.
that up and see what we could do.
Yes, sir.
All you have, Mr. Martin?
That's all I got right now.
You sure?
I think so.
Okay. The only thing I have is, I was out of character this afternoon, and I want to apologize again. It's not my character to be like that. But when somebody tells me that I don't care about somebody,
Yes, sir.
I take that personal. And when they say that this board that I serve on, and I know every one of these men, not only as commissioners but as friends, good Christian friends of mine, and somebody gonna stand in front of them and tell them that we don't care about people, I take that to heart. We care about everybody in this community. Not only in this community, I care about people in Nicaragua, Guatemala. So don't come up here and I don't care who you are, and tell this board that we don't care about people. We're here to serve the people, and that's what we do every day.
Yes, sir.
But we make decisions that not only affect one department in this community, but every department in this community. And we have to weigh that out.
It's tough to balance.
It has to balance. So we can't just look at one department and say, yeah, I guarantee you every department in the county could come up here and ask for more help because they all need it.
Yeah.
But we can't do everything. We don't have the funds. You heard the people in here today say we're a physically constrained county. That's a reason, because we don't have funds. The state comes in and paves our roads for us because we don't have funds. And I mean, we moved a long way. When I started here, there was a volunteer fire department as a county commissioner. 2 brand new fire stations now. How many new brand new trucks we have, brand new equipment, full-time employees.
Yes, sir.
We've come a long way in how long since I started here. And I ain't gonna tell you how far we've come since I was a volunteer. So, but we, as commissioners, care about our community, and for anybody to say that we don't, they have problems. And I'm not gonna sit here and listen to people say that we don't. And I said that in a nicer way this time, and I wish I'd have done that the first time, so I want to apologize. And with that, I'll take a motion to adjourn.
Move we adjourn.
Thank you.